During this challenging time, we know you don't need the added stress of a negligence claim. So we wanted to let you know about upcoming limitation periods in 3 areas: the lifting of the suspension, the CRT, and third-party claims. First, on the lifting of the suspension of limitation periods. As you're all aware, the suspension ends March 25th. This does not mean that all limitations end on March 25th. What does it mean? Review our detailed guidelines that we developed with the Ministry of the Attorney General to find out. But let me simplify things. Generally, the suspension impacts your limitation period in one of 2 ways. You either add 1 year to the expiry date of the original limitation period, or your new limitation date is March 26, 2023. So when do you add the 1 year to the original expiry date? First, if the limitation period would normally have expired during the suspension, so during March 26, 2020 to March 25, 2021. Or second, if the cause of action arose before the suspension and the limitation period would normally expire after the suspension. Here are examples of each scenario. In both cases, you add 1 year to the original expiry date. Why? Because the limitation period was suspended for exactly 1 full year. So you have the same amount of time remaining after the suspension ends as you did originally before the suspension started. When is your limitation period March 26, 2023? If the cause of action arose during the suspension. So for example, a motor vehicle accident on December 18, 2020. Why? Because the limitation period only starts to run when the suspension is lifted. Quick reminders. Don't forget to diarize your new limitation date. Remember, the suspension does not apply to administrative tribunals. And don't assume that the other provinces have the same suspension of limitation periods. They do not. In both these cases, find out if there's been a suspension. Finally, don't procrastinate. Seriously, I can't stress this enough, particularly now. We know there is a backlog in the courts, and if you wait until the last few weeks to file your notice of claim and it is rejected, you may not find out until well after the limitation is passed, when it is too late. So don't wait. Now, let's talk about the Civil Resolution Tribunal. Remember, the suspension of limitation periods does not apply. As you know, the CRT has exclusive jurisdiction for certain injury claims for motor vehicle accidents on and after April 1st, 2019. So the earliest limitation, April 1st, 2021, is just around the corner. Finally, think early about potential third-party claims. The BC Court of Appeal recently confirmed the strict 2-year limitation period for bringing a third-party claim. And lastly, if you are in doubt or confused about any of this, just call us.